Welcome to the new Overlords Podcast. I'm Max, that's Sema, and we talk about video games. Coming up, we're going to catch up on a bunch of game news, some fun stuff, like the real reason Light No Fire has had no news recently. We're also going to talk about some new fun stuff coming soon, something I'm excited about. I left off because it's not until the second week in August or September. I left it off the list last week, but we'll start talking about it now and for the next 3 weeks incessantly until it arrives. And then Star Wars The Old Republic was Summer of SWTORs. SWTOR is back on the menu. We're doing some SWTOR. We've got a season that started this week. We've got more 8.0 news. We're going to talk about all of that. But before we do that, let's say hello to our co-host. Hi there, Sema. Hello.
Hey
How are you?
Max. I'm good. I'm happy with that we get a new season starting in Star Wars: The Old Republic. And we also I'm still working through new stuff in the new update we had in WoW was basically 2 weeks ago, but
But the rating
now
started this week, right?
the rating started. Yes, that's
And you
correct.
took a
Yesterday.
look, I heard.
I did.
Yeah,
I
how's it
did.
looking? How's it looking?
I was really surprised. I wasn't going to do LFR because I don't know, just when you do day 1 LFR, nobody knows the fights and all that stuff. It's painful sometimes. However, I don't think that's who's doing LFR right now. It's people who do know the fights, that they've done it on the PTR, they've done it in their own raid teams, they're doing it in LFR because they're trying to finish collecting. There's a certain currency that you get for killing bosses. Maybe they're
You're
trying
still
for
on
that
that
reason.
leading edge with the world firsters. You're still like, hello, fellow
I
late
mean, I
dudes.
literally, I felt like I was in a group of like, well, 40, 50, a bunch of people. And I was like the one going, well, what do I do with, in my mind, what do I do with this? Like, oh, you're supposed to soak that. But everyone was already soaking it. They were disappearing so fast. And I'm like, what has happened to LFR? LFR, by the way, is looking for raid, and it's a accessible version of all the raids that you're supposed to be able to do without voice comms and without planning and all that stuff. So it did have a number of mechanics in it, but they were forgiving enough that if you stood in the fire or got knocked off the platform, there's stairs to get back. Well, in some places there's stairs. A friend of mine got knocked into the lava where there weren't stairs. But yeah, that was fun. Plus, I tried to pug it in normal, which is the next step up. But there was like 100 people trying to get into that group, and for some reason, I wasn't one of them.
Now, when you said that, I got the gist that were you like just like general chat pugging, or were you in that Discord?
I
That
was in
cool.
that Discord, that
Yeah,
cool
so that's like a
yeah.
step up from pugging, I would think. I mean, it's still
It is
pugging, but
it is a step up because it's a known quantity in terms of culture. They have
yeah.
rules, um, and it's led by a person who did the fights on the PTR, and they do it in voice,
Yeah, see,
so
that's
they can
cool.
they can
That's
so
that's that's
I I
cool.
li I listened to them almost for the whole 2 hours while I was playing WoW by myself, um, just to hear the fights and to hear their way of handling it, so that was pretty cool, but I was really hurt that I didn't get in.
Yeah.
I I don't know why.
Well, did you rage quit the Discord? That's what you're supposed to do, but then you're supposed to join
I
back
felt
back up
I
like
felt
5
very
minutes later.
I felt very Eeyore about it, like, But,
I didn't get picked.
I even had this thought in my mind too, like, maybe I should be a healer because they had to fill the tanks and the healers, right? And
Yeah.
at the end, they were going, "Any of you DPS, can you be a healer?" And I'm like, "I'm a warlock."
Mm.
If I tried to get in if I was still doing balance druid, I could have said, "Me."
Yeah. Yeah.
But, so one of their DPS switched over, and then they took one more DPS, but that one more DPS still wasn't me.
Your healer privilege is gone. But
Yeah, it is.
you still have your pretty privilege to fall back on though. So
Yes, my little gnome is very pretty.
well, that sounds pretty cool, and I like that idea of
Yeah.
that. Just like one step, a slightly curated community of pugging just sounds
Yes,
great. It sounds really
and I
makes me
actually
want to get
pugged it
into it. Mm.
last week. At the end of last week, I pugged a mythic, um, dungeon, just through the regular, look it up in Group Finder and pick some. Like Group Finder now will tell you you can choose to say competitive, relaxed, housewarming, or something else. I don't know what any of those mean, except for I didn't want to pick competitive
Yeah.
because competitive is the people who are trying to push the key to, well, last week that couldn't be. You can't push keys last week, but it could have been people who wanted to get it done really fast or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. So I picked one that said relaxed. And even though, because I get unrelaxed when I'm not in voice because then I don't know what's going on and I can't type, blah, 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 blah. But I did it.
You
It was
got
fun.
You just need to type in abbreviations. You just like have to have them macroed up like, screw you. you, you suck, losers. L2P,
My
L2P.
my pug macro set. That's so me.
All right. Well, that sounds fun. We will keep up to date with you on WoW news moving into the future. And I nearly launched WoW this week again. I do feel the pull. I do want to get back into that more. But I did not. I was still doing other things, including what
I
we're
mean,
going to talk
there's
about in the second half, which is Star Wars: The Old Republic.
fishing is pretty big in this one.
Oh boy.
You could be that guy fishing, and there's like a couple of dailies every day.
Yeah, like fish. Don't you like fish in the venom? There's like venom.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I.
And then you build up your friendship with the pirate captain turtle, and then I don't
Pirate
know.
captain? Can I
He
be a pirate captain? If I could be a pirate captain, that would even be
Well,
better.
I'm not sure if he's wearing a pirate hat and he's a captain and he's a turtle.
Hmm.
But I like building my friendship with him, even though I don't actually know what the rewards will be. But
Of course. Friendship is a reward in and of itself. No, I must be rewarded.
that is,
Hey, buddy,
which
don't
is
call me
it's
buddy. I'll be your
hypocritical of me
buddy
to
for a price. What's
it's
my
hypocritical
reward?
of me because when I played Palia briefly, I was like, why do I care if I'm friends with any of these people?
Yeah. Except that I wanted to date with a woman in the forest, the older woman with the called the witch with the cauldron and stuff, so that you have
Oh.
to raise your affection with them to date them. I never got that far though. I lost interest. Sorry, you lost my interest.
Yep.
That does sound good though. Let's talk about the rest of the news because we do have some fun stuff to get to there too.
Good news, everyone!
First up in the news, it is, which is not any news, but I forgot to mention we talked about it in the pre-show. It's Smisky. It's Smisky Day. It has nothing to do with video games, but Smiskies are 10 years old. They're little Japanese, hilarious little figures that you can collect in little mystery boxes. And for some reason, my daughter got me into them, and I only have 3. It's not like I collect these, but she gets me one every once in a while, including this little guy, which is the guy who has to pee, which I still find hilarious. And he glows in the dark. So that's fun. And then she got me the little birthday one, which was one of 6 random birthday poses, and he's got like a little birthday hat on. And then this was the first one that I actually got in Japan, which is the little guy with the airplane. Anyway, Smisky Day. In actual video game news, we did get some news coming out of recent interviews that Sean Murray's been doing, making the rounds on. And PC Gamer magazine, PC Gamer website, I guess not a magazine. There are no magazines anymore, except the ones that go in guns. Wow. Sean Murray said some reasons why they've stopped talking about Light No Fire, which is interesting.
I love that first comment.
Which one?
The one they have on screen right now where he says, we don't need to say anything more right now. We got so much.
Well, that's basically it. I mean, that's the reason.
2023, yeah.
Because he got himself into big trouble at the launch of No Man's Sky. This is not like 12 years ago now, or 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever the anniversary was. I forgot what it is. Maybe it's just the 10-year anniversary that just passed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, just 10 years.
He got himself into big trouble because he would go do these interviews and he would talk about what they were trying to do and what it was in their minds. It just didn't. Not all of it was there at launch, even though in their minds it was like this infinite, repeatable universe with multiplayer, which it still kind of is, and they kind of succeeded with a lot of that, but it wasn't everything that they wanted it to be. So they put out the trailer. This was a couple years ago now, almost 3 years ago now. They put out the teaser trailer, and immediately it's like 20 million views, and it's still like it's in the top 5 of most anticipated games in Steam. And they kind of like went home after that and freaked out a little bit, which is like, oh crap, it's happening again. Oh my God. How about if we just stop? It's just stop. It's nothing, no more. Their plan was to build up, to show information over time and, build it up a bit and do some marketing around it and show more of what they were going to doing and show the systems. Well, if you get like 20 million views and you're the top most wish list on Steam, don't say anything else. There's no marketing reason to do it. The only place you can go is down.
Right.
So keep your mouth shut. Be happy that people are excited for whatever you're going to put out. And then just go to work. And that's what they decided to do. And he confirmed that in this interview with these questions, which I thought was interesting and fun and good news to hear from them that they're just working on it. But we still don't know when it will be out, which is a little bit sad for us as fans. And we have had no news, and we apparently won't because we like it too much. That's what you did, fans. You broke it. You broke Sean. Something else we haven't had news on the No Man's Sky is that Cosmos update. And it's seeming like that it was teased in that 10-year anniversary trailer. In the month leading up to that trailer, and the month leading up to the 10-year anniversary, people were just all over the forums and feedback and Twitter and 10-year anniversary. I can't wait to see what huge, enormous thing you're doing for us for the 10-year anniversary, Sean. And they might have been like, by that point, going, "Oh crap! What are we doing?" And they probably have been working on this Cosmos update for a while, but it wasn't like a 10-year anniversary thing. They were like, I guess just tell them that Cosmos is coming. Okay. So it's not in any time frame of the way their previous updates have worked, which is he puts an emoji out and the update comes 3-4 days later. Now it was like, oh, well, we should probably say something because it's 10 years. And everybody's, demanding it. But it could still be months. It could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months. Nobody has any idea where Cosmos is. But I was hoping to have it by now, but we don't. Something else I was hoping we'd have by now is anything at all related to Star Citizen. But we don't have that either, except for ways to pay them thousands of dollars for nothing. That big like starships that aren't even in the game and won't be in the game for years. Big drama going on right now around Star Citizen though. So here's the short story. They had like a guy in the community who was a content creator. He was doing some stuff. They liked what he was doing. They decided to hire him as part of the marketing team. Comes on, he's part of the marketing team, a young guy, a streamer, popular. They decide to do this stream with the developers to like show kind of like what the premium experience of playing Star Citizen is like. And then Jared, the longtime community lead, who mostly does like the leads the live streams and does the interviewing, is sort of like the face of the community management. I'm an older guy, Jared, and he's been pretty good. He was there too to like help kick it off, but it was like this young guy's first thing and does the stream. and it just went bad. The stream went bad because the game, as it always has been, if you can get around the bugs, is an amazing bunch of the most immersive technology you can ever imagine if you can get around the bugs. And even in the stream with the developers in a closed environment, it was riddled with game-stopping bugs that they kept running into, and the developers kept running into, and they like couldn't get through it. And then it also seemed kind of like Jared was a little, I don't know if he's like, feels like he's getting pushed aside by this young guy coming in, you know, is this guy gunning for his job? But he didn't seem very accommodating. And at one point at the end, like leans over to the young guy and he's like, "This is your show. You better wrap it up." You know, a kind of a weird phrase like that. So like the whole thing was just awkward and bad and rough. And like at the end, it's like crashing and buggy. And, you know, one of the other developers is like, "I can't wait for everyone else of all of our fans to have such a great experience like we just had." Like it was a prepared statement or something, but completely discordant with what actually happened. So anyway, this was like 3 weeks ago. And then like, so, or maybe like 2 weeks ago. And then right after, some of the hardcore content creators for Star Citizen and everybody in Reddit and everything was like, "Oh, what a train wreck. That live stream was terrible. Oh, this is so bad. They need to fix the game. They should just take a year off and just fix the game, blah, blah, blah." And memes, how, you know, memes of, instead of Jared leaning over the streamers saying it's your show, wrap it up, it's him leaning over Chris Roberts, the head of the company, saying, "It's your game, better wrap it up."
Oh my gosh.
However, the hardcore content creators then started making videos, and then Moist Critical, one of the, you know, 16 million subscribers, biggest streamers in the world, he picked it up about a week later and did his own, because he's done Star Citizen stuff before as well. He did his own review of the stream and how bad it was and that kind of thing. And then this week, all the other, you know, IGN, PC Mag, everyone else, all the journalists saw Moist Critical did a thing. So now they're doing a thing because Moist Critical did a thing, because the content creators did a thing, because Star Citizen did a thing. So we, New Overlords Podcast, are now reporting on the journalists, reporting on Moist Critical, reporting on the content creators, reporting on the Reddit posters, reporting on the live stream.
We're
for
so
Star
proud.
Citizen.
Yes.
So there you go. There's the story. There's the drama. There's the tea. We still don't know. We still haven't gotten the news, which we all expect, that Squadron 42 is not actually releasing this year, even though they promised it. They promised it for this year, but they also promised it for 6 years ago, and they promised it last year, and they promised it 2 years ago. So, but by all accounts, it was supposed to be coming out later this year. Still could, but probably not. That's where that's at. Fun. And then on some lighter news, we did get some news on the latest update for Subnautica 2, which I'm not all that interested in, but apparently a lot of people are. So that's fine. It's a multiplayer. The 1.2 update is mostly multiplayer focused. There's some quality of life things. There's some other things that they're putting into, but the biggest stuff that they're putting in is for multiplayer stuff, including proximity voice, like emotes and gestures. So you can use emotes, and this developer stream, I forgot who this guy is, one of the developers. It's only a 4-minute devlog, but one of the things he's like is, "I like when the emotes are used out of context, like somebody gets eaten by a bad fish, and then the person is like clapping for, you know, golf clapping on the side." It's like, yeah, hilarious. But I think it's fine. Do you ever use emotes? I mean, we use them once in a while when you're like standing around waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
But rarely use it to, you know, have that much fun communicating in a game. But still, the proximity voice stuff seems okay. And then like this thing seemed okay, which was you can walk up to one of your buddies, because this is all co-op. It's not like an open world. It's not like pugging, but you can walk up to one of your friends and open up their backpack while they're standing there and like drop stuff like food and drinks directly into their backpack. That's nice. That seemed like an effective tool rather than trying to like drop it on the ground, or it's just like floating in the water and you got to like pick it up or go find a container to put it in. I thought that was a little cool addition. Proximity voice, I'm less interested in anytime. And we talked about this a little in the pre-show. And my problem with proximity voice is, in rare cases, if a game is designed around proximity voice, it could be an interesting mechanic. The new game, sort of like the new friend co-op, meme game called Big Walk, has a proximity voice mechanic to it where proximity voice works sometimes, but in other times it doesn't work. Like you might be behind a pane of glass and there might be that. Remember when we played It Takes Two or whatever
Yes.
I
remember
the
that
We Were
game,
Here
yeah.
series. So imagine proximity voice where if we're in the same room, we can talk to each other. But if we're in different rooms, we have to like use like charades or something, because you can see me on the other side of the glass, or like you can like write on a whiteboard, or it's a like a mechanic of the game. That's interesting.
Right.
You can't just say press number 3.
Right.
So fine. However, 99 times out of 100, if I'm gaming with someone and I want to be in voice, I want to be in voice, because if we get separated because I'm mining in one place and they're mining in another place, I still want to chat about Masters of the Universe, which I saw last week, and how it was what it is.
How similar it is to the Odyssey.
I don't want to like have to like physically be next to them in the game, and that's the only time how similar it was to the Odyssey. Yes, same. It's like I'm watching the same movie. Christopher Nolan's got nothing on SWTOR. But yeah, so we're gonna want to be in voice to be in voice. And the other thing with a lot of these proximity attacks, which you just said, which is half the times it's like a project to get the in-game voice to work. It's like, let's get in Discord so we can talk each other through connecting to the game and to their session, and to getting the voice connected. And can you hear my microphone? Can I hear your microphone? But we're in Discord, so let's just talk in Discord.
Right.
So I'm, I think proximity chat is a gimmick and not a useful tool.
Plus, I mean, one thing you mentioned too earlier is that they said it was, due to demand. And I'm always kind of skeptical when people say that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't disbelieve it, but I also don't like believe it.
Yeah.
I don't automatically believe it.
It's when you have a large population of players, I'm sure anything you could possibly think of or might be on your development roadmap is in demand by someone.
Yeah.
So maybe that's by popular demand.
I demand.
I think I've even done that before. Like post something post podcast, as a bunch of you asked for, and it was a bunch. It was like 3 people out of the chat room. It wasn't like thousands of people demanded that we put up our tier list.
Right.
But you phrase it when you put it out on the social networks,
Due to
like
popular demand.
the overwhelming demand. We're so popular. Every single listener, all 3 of them, demanded
I'm
we do this.
popular and I demanded it. So popular demand.
So, still, I'm glad they're working on it, and everything they do and everything they're adding, and even all of this stuff that they're adding seems high quality, which I appreciate. There's that. All right, let's talk about some coming soon. I did not yet get to play, although it is out there and kicking or getting kicked. Stars Reach. It did release to early access. This is the Raf Koster open world MMO, sci-fi themed, terraforming, voxel worlds. It's out there. I watched a bunch of videos. I didn't have time to play it. I'm gonna play it, although even now the reviews aren't that great. Just that it's early, it's not that polished, and what I'm seeing in terms of like user interface and features and functionality seems not only not yet ready, but design wise a little bit less than I would hope for. But it, I'm gonna check it out anyway. And I'm sure there is fun to be had, and there are people that are big fans and are sticking with it. It's just in a precarious state because it's one of these projects that started with some backed funding, did a Kickstarter to generate more interest, has not been able to parlay that into a big bunch of the next $100 million that they need to finish it. So are now going to early access. And if this doesn't work out, who knows what the future is. So I might be playing it just so that I can play it while it lasts. Because I kind of feel like that's the state that this is in. I wish one of these would work, though. I love these sci-fi, open world, sandbox, MMO kind of things.
Yeah.
It would be great. And then looking forward, a couple other things we mentioned was Amsterdam 1666 is coming out next week. Sema's going to play that and tell us how it is. I'm committing you to that. But that is coming next week. And then also late next week. Yeah. So 8 days, Star Wars Zero Company. This is going to be a big deal for a lot of people, including us. And it sounds like in early reviews that everybody's liking what they're seeing and is very excited. So it's a XCOM-like game. So it's sort of like turn-based squad strategy kind of game. So it's not like an open world adventure. It's the kind of thing, but it does seem like there are definitely some interesting story and RPG elements. But you're going to need to want to play that kind of game. But if you're up for that kind of gameplay, this seems like this is going to be a great opportunity to have a fun Star Wars game to play. Definitely going to be playing that. Another one that's coming on August 31st that I just found this week on, again, surfaced to me by the personal calendar in Steam, which is continuing to be a bright spot in a new way to do algorithms that actually work. This is a game called Breath Edge 2. So Breath Edge 1, I had never heard of before, but had been released a few years ago. And it was a small space survival game, but moderately, I think mostly positive reviews. People liked it. A lot of people who did like it and only mostly wanted a little bit more to the game. And it sounds like what they're doing with Breath Edge 2 is that stuff that people wanted more of. That sounds interesting. And then I looked into it more, and what it looks like to me is kind of Subnautica in space. So just that kind of, you need to, even to the point of where you're like, you got to have enough oxygen. So you got to like build, come back to your little space station so you can get, you can just like you're coming back to your capsule in the beginning of Subnautica, and you got to do your upgrades so things work, and on your spacesuit, and then you're out scavenging equipment so you can build the next thing. So it does seem a lot like Subnautica in space. It's going to be hard being compared to Subnautica because Subnautica is best in class. But I like space, and I like Subnautica, and another one like that could be fun. So cool. And then the 2 for September that we've now added to the list to keep an eye on. I think this one may end up being big on September 2nd, which is Blood of the Dawnwalker. We talked about that before. We won't talk about it too much yet until it gets closer, but that's really RPG. That's true RPG story driven combat and that kind of thing, but like RPG, you're the Dawnwalker, half vampire, fighting some vampires, fighting some, bad humans, go on an adventure kind of thing. And then probably my most anticipated for the next 45 days is Valheim 1.0. It's not long now. It's September 9th. So that's like 3 weeks from
Wow.
now.
Yeah.
Our AIE is going to have a server set up, just a handful of us that are going to be on it. But if you want to jump in, Fez, one of our WoW team leaders, set up a server before, and he went all the way through it. It was mostly him, but a couple other people jumped on. I'm going to jump on September 9th when he sets up the server for a restart. I'm going to start fresh and do Valheim 1.0. And we'll see if I make it past the Mistlands, if I make it into the Firelands. We'll see. Because it's spicy. It gets really spicy. And by spicy, I mean annoying and boring. When you're just dying constantly to try to make 2 feet of progress. 1 step forward, 3 steps back kind of thing. So we'll see. But the final zone of the 1.0, the north, the deep winter, deep north, whatever it's called, is going to be part of that 1.0 release. What about you, Sema? Are you going to jump in on Fez's Valheim server? Did you play Valheim with us last time?
I never played Valheim, although it does sound like a fun game.
Especially in the early phases of Valheim, it is pretty fun and pretty, in a lot of ways, in the early phases especially, pretty coffee contemplation compatible.
Right.
So,
but also you can die, right? I mean,
yeah, but
and you get attacked by orcs or trolls or something.
You do get attacked by a little troll. I'm like, again, each biome is more and more dangerous. The sort of like the meadows that you start in are barely dangerous. So yeah, these little trolls will come up and mess with you, and you got to like whack them, with a stick, and then and that's it.
And they attack what you've built too, right?
Oh, the invasions, like the big trolls. The big trolls are bad, but they're not usually in the meadows either. They usually come from like the next biome, and if you're too close to the next biome, they'll come over. But once you build up your base, we could, we could do some mods. We could shut off base invasions for a little while, because they can get a little bit annoying, and that is certainly not very coffee and contemplation compatible. When a big troll comes and smashes your building down. Building defensively does work in that game. So you would just need to be like building walls or building a big like a big moat, dig out a big moat around your compound, your little base. And you're mostly protected until you get late game where there's things that fly and rain fire down on top of you. But yeah, we'll see. You tell Fez, you want to shut base invasions off for a little while, then we'll turn them back on later. Cool. Anything else on coming soon that you're excited about, Sema? The next phase of WoW rating. How many bosses have they currently released? Did you get muted? I think you got muted.
Sorry, I did because I was fighting a fly, so I muted.
Again?
Yes. There's the one lair boss, and then the new raid has 8 bosses.
And then have they already announced like what comes after this raid?
They have. I think there's like more lair bosses to come, but I mean, I kind of live in the moment.
Yeah, because this is only is this raid the end of season 2 or just the first chapter of season 2?
It's just the first chapter.
Yeah. Okay. So there'll probably be another raid coming after this also, because this first chapter is a little bit more of a side story anyway. And
yes,
you'll still need to get back to the main course.
Yes. I watched the cinematic for the end of the first raid, which is a spoiler.
Spoiler.
And I'm not going to say anything about it, but I watched it because when you finish it the first time, there's no time to watch it.
Yeah,
you got to get your loot, man.
I never watched the cinematics, which is weird. Every once in a while, if you're doing it with like a private group, you can. Like everybody will say, hey, when we get to the end, if we kill the boss, we're all going to be quiet and watch the cinematic.
I still don't do it even in that case because,
I know.
well, first of all, yeah, I can't hear both. And if the cinematic is very good and people are talking, I can't really get what they're saying or the cinematic, so I usually save it for
Right.
another time.
Yeah. Save it for IMAX. Go to the IMAX theater and watch it on the.
And the Blizzard ones are always like there's always emotional charge too.
Right. Right. And then, and then we're all like choked up trying to like talk to our friends
Well,
afterwards.
maybe they're not all crying level emotional, but yeah.
There's no crying. There's no crying in Warcraft. Yes, there is all the time. They cry all the time.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that as well. This podcast is brought to you by Garden and a Goat, the upcoming game from Contemplation Games. Fun stuff coming in near-term announcements. Keep an eye out for that. Also by AIE, Alea Iacta Est, our game community, aie-guild.org, for access to our Discord. And it's certainly brought to you by all of you out there watching, listening in the chat room right now. Everybody coming and hanging out. It's super cool. We have a great time. So thank you very much. All right, Sema.
Bet you didn't see this coming!
Haven't done that.
We kind of did though. We did see it coming.
Yeah, we saw it coming from a mile away, from a parsec away, from a
because Broadsword doesn't use Sean Murray's style of communication.
No, they don't. They do a much more traditional marketing.
They're much more keeping us in the nose,
including drip marketing. So they are continuing to put out interesting things about what's coming 8.0, but holding things back as well.
Oh, I thought you meant marketing our drip.
Oh, that too. Oh, ooh, good entendre there. Good reference.
Because I know what that means. It means the kids don't say it anymore.
I know. Oh, you killed it.
Yep. It's probably already dead.
You just killed it. So yeah, in fact, I just saw news, hot news, breaking news. I think they're going to be doing a playthrough stream on the PTS tomorrow, right?
Yes, and that is really fun to watch. I recommend it.
Yeah, so that does sound fun. And is it going to be? Did they confirm that it's going to be Eric playing like he did last time?
I just assume it's going to be Eric, who is the community manager. It just barely knows how to play the game, so it's always good for fun.
They should have Keith play. Keith
is
the director, the game director and executive, but is like a play and like a
he doesn't give Eric time to play. Yeah.
But yeah, he's got like 40 characters of his own, and he's like, he's done all of the content and plays it all the time, or at least used to. So let's talk about the season to kick it off, because we've got kind of three things to talk about. We can talk about the season, we can talk about what else we've heard for 8.0, and then we can talk about the PTS. And I did look at some videos of the fight that's on the PTS that we could talk about at the end.
Sweet.
But season just started on Tuesday. We played it last night with our pals, jumped in there.
Yep.
It's a season. So it's Galactic season 11. They turned it up to 11.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's going to be a long one.
Yeah. They brought back 2 of the companions from season 2 and 4. So this is a continuation of kind of things that you could have missed out on if you haven't been playing for a decade.
And they were pretty transparent about that. They said during this period we're working on 8.0. So we're doing Galactic seasons, but there is going to be some repetition from earlier ones.
And there's still new new rewards and stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's nothing for us players.
Yeah, they change it up a little bit.
Like there's in the reward track for the season. So the season is kind of like their battle pass. There's a free track and there's a subscriber track, and you get little rewards like, like buff tokens, you get little decorations, you get cosmetics, and then some of the bigger things are like pets and mounts and armor sets. Everyone gets these 2 companions as part of the free track, and the first companion you get basically on day 1. And then within the first week, you can unlock enough levels to get the second companion also. So that's nice. And then some of the mounts and pets and weapons and cosmetics have been around before, but there are definitely some new ones, which is nice. So Cal today in Tor.com showed off here in his post on it what some of this new stuff is, including even if you've got the companion, so the 2 companions is kind of like a light and shadow theme. So Fenziel is this shadowy underworld figure, and Amity is this, sort of like this light side. Is Amity Voss? A Voss? Forgot what Amity is.
I don't know.
But like a light side companion.
Yeah.
And a customization for each of them. So you at least get a new look for each of them, which is cool. New armor sets. Yeah, what's that?
We get an armor set too that looks like these customizations. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, what is this Shadow Initiate with like the quilted skirt thing? I kind of like. I'm kind of digging that. What is that? It's like a quilted skirt.
Extra protection.
But how did they manage to make a quilted like ankle length skirt but look like armor? I mean, it looks like,
I know.
It looks like a cool thing. It looks like like a battle warrior would potentially be wearing this thing. Like maybe like a cold weather like gear. It kind of looks like the bottom half of like a trench coat in the way it's formed, but also it's like in this cool quilted pattern with this like blotchy paint on it. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. That was an interesting design. Bold design choice. Couple weapon options that you'll get, and the weapons, everything that's either armor or weapons in Star Wars: The Old Republic is kind of can be used as just a basic cosmetic, or you could equip it and fill it with the mods that turn it into a usable weapon. So that's a really nice system. Yeah, these look pretty good. Nothing too crazy on the weapons that I'm seeing here, but they look fine. Yeah, the sniper rifle I think looks the best. It almost looks like arrow fletching on the barrel of the sniper rifle. What is that one? What's with the pink? Is that colored or does that come pink like that?
That's interesting.
That kind of looks cool. Mounts. It's a Thurb mount, which we've had before, but 2 new skins, I think, for that. And then a new mount, which is in their new class style of mounts where your companion, whatever companion you have out, can basically appears in the passenger seat or in a special seat designed for them on the mount. And there's 2 of these, which more look like stylish hover cars like you might see in Coruscant in the city. And your companion sits in the passenger seat. So they're pretty cool.
Yeah, they are cool.
And then some titles and stuff too, but that seems cool, and some decorations. Nothing all too crazy. The less interesting side of this particular season is there's no like, again, they're working on 8.0 as you said, but there's no like story. There's neither an interesting story or narrative wrapped around it. Like in some of the past seasons, there has been a little bit of that. And there's also not a particular event like the bounty hunting that was a big part of one of the seasons, or the light dark where you're killing these light dark bosses for reasons. This one is mostly going to be around general conquest style objectives, which you could say, oh, it's disappointing that there's no kind of like narrative to tie it into a seasonal kind of event for one. But on the flip side of that, I don't mind not having to be tied to like uprisings for an entire season and having more flexibility to just go do what I want and play the game how I want. So that's not bad. I mean, what do you think of that, Sema?
About the story being there or not being there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really miss it.
Yeah, it's fine, right?
For me, it's a flaw, that a personal flaw that I have, is like the story. I don't have the right mindset for it. So when I sit down to play, I want to accomplish something, and this story just gets in my way.
Yes. Yeah.
I need to sit down with like, okay, let's experience the story. But then I always forget I'm supposed to do that.
Yes. I agree. That for a battle pass, I'm not in it for the story. I'm in it for the money. Only money.
Right. Only money.
Uh
Only for moving the bar.
And then the other thing, which does kind of grind my gears a little bit, is again, they're working on 8.0 this season, and they try not to end a season like in December, and because to try to like have to start a new season like on over the holidays. So this season is going to get pushed to ending in February, which means this is a 26-week long season, which in and of itself would be fine. Except they took the one meta achievement, which is the season of how many weekly objectives have you done? And because it's so long, we'll up the requirement. Instead of 100, doing 100 of them to complete that meta achievement, we'll make it 130 because the season's so long. I'm not
Every
happy with
once
that.
in a while, they do something that makes me think that they just don't have access to a calculator. Because I
Yeah.
don't feel like that was that would ever have been their intent. Now they've turned it into a season that we really have to hustle from the beginning to the end to make the meta. Whereas before, you could go on vacation
Right.
and there were
Yeah,
ways to make it up. But this time, if you have a family vacation planned, you're out of the picture.
Yeah, you kind of get screwed. You have to do 5 out of the 7. You have to average 5 of 7 at a minimum
And
every
I
week
just
for 26 weeks.
I just really doubt that was their intention.
Right. I mean, I could see like upping it a little bit or whatever. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like somebody it's like somebody rolled some random dice or just said, I don't know. It's kind of like almost a third longer, right? Yeah, just make it 130.
Right. Right.
It's like, yeah,
Exactly.
it's like they didn't do the
Exactly.
math. They didn't think about playing it. They didn't.
Yeah.
And the irony is if they had thought about the other part of it, which is, well, we know it's really tough in December for us to like put, we're busy. The holidays are there. It's tough for us to like do another season. So we're going to need a break. So we'll push the season out, but we'll make sure the players don't have a break.
Right.
To make
Right.
them log in every week during the holidays so that they have to do those 5 objectives. No, Grandma, I can't come to Christmas dinner because I got to get my 5 objectives done for the week. What the hell, guys?
So Forster's point is the same ratio, but there have been other seasons where it was longer and it was still
Is it the
meta was
same ratio?
longer.
It's always been average 5 out of 7. And if you miss more than 2, if you don't do 5 out of 7, it seems like it's been a lower average than 5 of 7 in the past.
I feel like if you do
Maybe.
5 a week, you'll still finish 7 weeks early. Is that what you mean, Forster?
Still a half a year. Okay. I mean, yes, maybe.
No. Yeah. If you do 7 a week, you'll finish 7 weeks early.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still 5 out of 7.
Yeah, I've gotten meta on weeks on seasons where when I did the math, I could do like 3 or 4 a week.
Forster, I'm not saying that I won't finish it early. Last season, I did 7 every single week until I finished it. I never did less than 7. So I'm not saying it like that. But it just, I don't know. 26 weeks of 5 out of 7 just feels like a lot. Cool. So that is the season. What else we got? 8.0. We got a little bit more information in the past week about 8.0, didn't we?
Yeah.
In fact, there is a SWTOR.com/Masters of the Force page up on SWTOR.com. So /Masters of the Force, which describes now. So they named they called out the name. They released the name. I thought the Children of Null was, I thought Children of Null was the name of the expansion. That's not. That's the name of the first operation. Masters of the Force is the name of the expansion. And this page does a nice job of breaking down some of the stuff. But as I said, expect that there's more that they're not telling us. And because they've said that explicitly, every couple months, every time we do a dev stream, all the way through the end of the year, we're going to be releasing new things, so they like to hold things back. And I know that. I know Jackie does. So she kind of enjoys that. Rationing, drip feeding, that kind of interesting information. However, they've released some interesting things and put it out on this page. So this idea is the culmination, the climax of everything that we've gotten to in the previous story, in the 7.0 story, now opens up the world and the galaxy for this idea of the kind of Force Awakens. And that's now, what is that going to do when now a whole bunch of every Force sensitive being in the galaxy now gets kind of like awakened and access to more of their Force powers than they potentially had before? What's that going to do? That's the storyline. So they've unveiled that. They talked about Ryloth, the Twi'lek. Do you say Twi'lek or Twi'lek?
I say Twi'lek.
I say
I don't know.
I say Twalik. So it's a little different, but so Ryloth is coming as a planet. We'll have to see how much of the planet we get. We've had some planets that have been added to the game, which are like Manon, which you can go to, and we even have a stronghold that you can have a Manon stronghold, but it's very limited in terms of the amount of space that's available. It's more of just like a hub where you can get into a couple of the underwater flashpoints. To bigger planets, to the full-size launch planets. I would expect this one to probably be in between. Probably not as small as some of the smaller planets, but just because of where they're at in terms of development in the team, it's not going to be a huge planet like Tatooine. But that'll be exciting to have the Twi'lek homeworld in the game. And then this. So tell me about your perspective on like the difficulty modes. Difficulty modes are one thing. So while you're going, you can switch the difficulty. So it's like even like story quests out and, missions out in the world, heroics, it could be harder or easier. But the interesting spin on it is this idea of the ventures, which is roll a new character locked into either like a hard mode experience. Not a hard mode like where you die, like permadeath. But where like you're playing in like master mode, hard mode, you got to like CC everything.
Right.
And then you get rewards and achievements and titles for taking characters through that hard mode experience. What's your perspective on this season? This approach? Sema, you excited?
I'm not sure what my take on it is. At first, I think that I don't want to play a bunch of characters over again, but that's what I thought before DVL also.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know, right?
I totally got into DVL, and
So the first time
I'm kind
DVL
of
came around, the 8 original classes is part of like the giant meta achievement for DVL. You had to roll a character and level it up to level 50 in every
right.
single one of the 8 original class stories, and we did.
Yeah, we did,
And
and
we liked it.
this is even going to be with a different, and that wasn't with anything different.
Right.
This is going to be with something different. And I have experienced that when you go into harder content, that it's more engaging. Sometimes it's more engaging. It kind of depends, right? If it's too hard, then it's tedious.
Right.
But um, yeah, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Players have been demanding this for a long time.
Well, actually, I think some players. I mean, I think they are sensitive to the complaint that the gameplay in SWTOR is too easy.
Yeah. I mean,
That's what they're trying to address.
a
Like,
lot of
and they
players have been
want it.
demanding it. Not that they'll like it or actually play it, but they've been demanding it.
So and what's brilliant about this is that there's people who play this game specifically for the story, and they couldn't care less about learning the class of each character. They don't want to interrupt stuff necessarily. They don't want to cleanse them. They want to make it through the combat part and get to the next story beat.
Yeah.
And so this allows all of that to happen. Those people get their mode. The people who want it harder get a hard mode, and then people who are in between get their own modes. So I don't know. It could be brilliant.
Yep. It could be. It could be. And I really appreciate how you said they couldn't care less and not they could care less, because that means they do care. Does everybody catch that? That's the right way to say it. They couldn't care less. They don't care at all. There's your little lesson for the day. I'm of mixed mind on this. I got bored, I don't know, it was last week or the week before, and this popped into my head. I'm like, well, what if there was an expert venture available right now? Would I roll a SWTOR character? I might.
Yeah.
I might do it. What if I did? And that
I did the Bessie venture, which was extremely repetitive.
I didn't finish that one. Because it wasn't that much of a challenge, it was just repetitive. Whereas this is the challenge part of it is a draw. Yeah. So also, let's see what the rewards are. I'm only extrinsic motivation is the only thing that works on me. Again, only money.
I very rarely care about the rewards.
I know.
But that's just me.
I actually don't care about them, but I want a reward to be there. But
I want a reward to be there because but the reward for me is moving the bar all the way to the end.
in fact, I forgot. I remembered this morning, and then I went and did something and I forgot, and I remembered just now what I forgot, but I was freaked out when I remembered it this morning, which is the last season ended. I don't remember if I pulled everything out of the season rewards. I think I did.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I did, but I don't remember if I did. And in reality, if I didn't, I throw them into a bank tab and I never look at them again from any of these seasons, and we're 11 seasons in. I want the reward to be there, but I don't care after I get it. I just want to get it.
Right. I experience this every day. Like today, it was like 1:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, hey, I didn't drink coffee yet today, did I? Or did I? I don't remember.
I've done that before, very rarely because it's a ritual. But there was one day 2 weeks ago where it was things were really busy in the morning. I was doing a bunch of work. I was on a call, and it got to the afternoon, and I hadn't had coffee that day, and I'm like, this is a terrible day. What a terrible day to be alive. I have had no coffee, and more coffee time is over.
Right.
This is so sad.
Right. I know.
I
think that was what it was for me because I baked bread this morning, which has its own ritual and reward, and I kind of just blew past the coffee window.
It was interesting. I'm happy. I have almost 16 ounces of coffee every morning. That's kind of how I make it. It's about 14 ounces. So it's a lot of coffee. I missed it that day, and I didn't get a headache or anything either. So I was kind of happy about that. So that's good. You don't want to be
that's good.
Much like water, don't become addicted. You will regret its absence.
Yes, if you're addicted to water, you'll regret it.
That's a Mad Max reference. Great. So that is that. That is 8.0 and new news on 8.0. And then the last thing that they were sort of showing, which we're going to talk about because it's on the Oh no, let's.
Wait,
I missed the additional features.
I have another comment about the story.
Oh yeah, what do you got?
I feel like the the range of the story is too big.
Which
Like
story?
I mean, the Darth Malgus turning on the machine and all the Force
Oh,
sensitive people getting his message, because I'm nervous about it means that something big and bad has to happen to turn it back off again, because it doesn't exist in.
yeah,
I'll
but they got
say
1,000 years to canon to veer back
at
into
least
canon. But
yes, they
yeah, I
have.
mean, it's a good point though. Yeah, what are
Yeah.
they gonna do? They're gonna have to like we're gonna have to like warp time, go back in time and stop it from ever happening in the first place.
Oh man, that would piss me off if that was their plan.
We get to go back and play all of 7.0 again for the next 3 years. But at the
No,
very
that's not what I
end,
meant. But I meant anytime time travel is the fix to a
yes,
story conundrum, I get
it was all a dream.
annoyed. It was I would rather have it was all a dream, because never mind.
'Cause
Anyway,
then at least we had
so
an interesting dream.
yeah, so yeah, and what did they have to say to Lucasfilm
Yeah, you're
that
right.
made them go, "Okay, yeah, that's fine, that'll work."
It's also, although they said this is the storyline, this isn't a storyline. This is like a setup, but they haven't actually said what the story is yet. So it's like,
True. But we know from the cliffhanger at the end that he turned the machine on and everybody heard it.
yeah, but what is, but then like the idea is, so here's their two paragraphs. Darth Malgus's legacy has been broadcast to every force-sensitive being across the galaxy, sowing chaos and unrest in its wake. Really? Well, okay, maybe. You tell me it is sowed chaos and unrest, but why? Will this message inspire hope, fear, or vengeance? For good or ill, the galaxy is forever changed. Is it? Galaxy and Chaos explores the consequences of Malgus's actions and the rising unrest spreading across the Republic, the Sith Empire, and beyond. Okay, so there's unrest and maybe a story is going to develop out of that. What we don't know what the story is. Now
Right.
you've said, oh, we've kicked the anthill. Okay, so what does that mean? Is there now a new evil
I don't
faction
know
is going
what
to
it
rise?
means.
There is,
I don't
yeah.
know.
So they haven't
I
told
don't
us
know
what the
what it
story
means,
is. This
but
isn't a storyline.
right, and I
Yeah.
didn't say it was. What I'm
No,
saying
that's
is this is big.
yeah.
This is
But I'm
Galaxy.
saying they've said it's a storyline, but you're right. This is like some big kicking of turning over of what we expect out of Star Wars, where it's like there's the Force users, there's the Jedi and the Sith, and we know what it is
Right.
in the
I mean,
past.
like
We know what it is in the future.
in this period of Star Wars, for instance, we have this thing kind of evil on the Jedi side where they go into families and break them up because they decide someone has the Force and someone doesn't have the Force. And then on the Sith side, we have, all the Force people actually go into like slavery for a few years until they kill their masters. And it's sort of like, well, what if everybody has the Force?
Right.
I mean, that's not what they're really saying, but look, what if everybody who has the Force actually knows it now? That's
Knows
really
it
the
and can
change.
access
Not that
it. And
everybody
yeah,
has it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a
Yeah.
little weird. I mean,
We'll see. We'll see.
yeah.
I'm worried though.
When everyone's special, no one is.
No, it's not that at all.
No,
It is
I know it's not, but
yeah. I think it's like the roots of how the Force is interpreted and used in this period of time. So
and it still has been broadcast to every force sensitive being across the galaxy. It's not like you gave force powers to people who didn't already have
right.
force sensitivity in the past.
Right. It's not everybody. Yeah.
Right. It's not everybody.
Right.
So I don't know, but this quote unquote story, they call it their title on the slide on the page is Galaxy and Chaos Storyline. This is the setup, but what's the story? Who's the protagonist? Who's the antagonist? What's the conflict? What are we going to be? Where's
Well, one of
our
the
journey?
central
What's our journey?
one of the central conflicts we've been watching in the story so far has to do with the brother and sister, where the sister was chosen by the Jedi and the brother was left behind, and the resentment that
Yeah, and
came
that
from
really
that.
went nowhere. So I
Well,
guess maybe that's going to continue.
unless this is where it's going. Yeah.
Yeah, which is okay, I guess. But that was happening before Malgus's whole thing. It's like,
Right,
what's his name was
but
realizing he had force powers, and so was Sahar.
it was
Rickon.
yeah, but it was subtle. Now it's going to be like, oh, I hear Darth Malgus in my mind now.
Yeah. Your chains are broken.
You're free.
Uh,
I think your Malgus might be better than my Malgus.
no, that was pretty close. I thought Malgus jumped onto the podcast there for a second. Did you just join Discord? Then they mention, which we'll talk about in a second, the 3-boss operation. It's connected to Darth Null. It's basically Darth Null had like a whole bunch of disciples like around her, and this is like a tag on of that. So this also doesn't seem as like part of the new story. This is like a cleanup of the old story. This is like some of the Darth Null disciples, the children of Null, hanging around still, and we need to go in and clean them up. Is this new operation? But that is on the PTS. We'll talk about that as the last thing. But I did want to take a quick look at this additional features that they've announced so far, which is some of the things that we would expect, and then some of the things that then I'm sure this is where they're holding back. So level cap increased to 85, new abilities across all disciplines. So new level cap, new abilities, a combat balance update. That's always difficult for any MMO creators to do a new combat balance update, but that'll be fun to live through either way. I like them. I like the meta changing. I would like a reason to no longer be innovative ordnance and be able to like pick a different spec that works and is useful. That would be fun. Improved leveling experience there. I kind of talked about that. New gearing system. That's also fraught with peril, but I don't mind. Again, the gear grind, level grind, new meta. That's what I want out of expansions. Me, a lot of people don't like that though. They're like, "Oh, my cheese moved, and now all this gear that I spent years putting together is useless. That's terrible. I would rather wear the same thing for the next 20 years." I don't like that. There's pros and cons to it, but I'm like that. You could say like the lateral progression systems, like in Guild Wars, or somewhat in Elder Scrolls Online. A lot of people prefer those. I kind of don't. I kind of like moving forward. And then, quote unquote, quality of life updates, which we all want our quality of life to increase, don't we? Sure, we do.
Sure. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to the fitted armor thing.
Oh, yeah. So fitted armor was a way for them to take a whole bunch of the old armor sets that you used to be able to earn in various systems in the past and pull them back into the game through a drop system and be able to get them. This now takes them and puts them into a collection system, which you could liken to some of the cosmetic collection systems in other games. Like Final Fantasy has I forgot what they call it, the vanity cabinet or whatever. WoW has their collection system for cosmetics. That sounds much better to me. I have pages in the bank vault, and I never bothered to start collecting them, but I didn't throw any of them away. But they're all just like piled in a couple legacy bank tabs on some alt that I never play. Having them be in a collection tab listed out just makes so much sense. you'll be able to see which pieces you're missing and maybe be incented to go after them. I mean, where do you think you're at in terms of, did you ever go and like try to collect a set out of any of those fitted sets?
No, but I do have a couple that are still in crates that came as a set. But all I've actually done with the individual pieces is just hold on to them in a very unorganized way. Like I started out,
Yeah.
I did create a character, send all to that character for a while, but now all my characters have some in their bank, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to approach it, but I'm going to wait until we get the collections piece, because one thing is going to be easier for sure, which is like you'll know right away when you have duplicates, or you can get rid of the actual physical inventory as soon as you match up one whole set.
Yeah.
Which right now you have to like look at them and see. And also some of them count twice. I mean, some of them are the same look and they count to the same collection. So like you would have to know that to be able to organize it now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, yeah, two sets have a different name, but they're the same look, so they'll be the same one in collections. I think that's how it's going to work. So I think it's going to be a big project to get them together and into sets, but it's the kind of project that sometimes I get into.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It might not be coffee and contemplation. It might be more like martinis and mayhem.
Interesting. But yeah, I get that. Anytime you're going to give me a bunch of bank space back, I like that.
Yeah. Yes.
But on the flip side, I don't do much. I don't collect them right now. At a minimum, I'll be happy to have the bank space.
But do you vendor them?
No. Yeah.
Well, I'm not. Okay, then we're both collecting them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes. In that way.
Yeah. So I look forward to here's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the feeling of it going from this amorphous mess of stuff into an organized thing.
I am as well. Even if I don't connect.
What I'm afraid of, though, is that I won't be able to do the whole thing, that I'll just go, okay, this is too much, and just walk away from it. And I'll have like a little bit of organized and the rest is still a big amorphous mass. So we'll see.
My biggest hope is all of those fitted pieces just disappear out of my bank automatically and show up in the collection.
Oh yeah, that's not happening.
I mean, that would be the best case.
But that's not how it works, because we already have a similar thing in the gear that you get from the boxes that you get on Odessan when you turn, when you rep.
But you have to have a complete set before those work.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You think that's how this is going to work?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have a.
Oh, well, that's no good.
On one character, you're going to have a complete set before it'll go into collections, and you can get rid of the inventory.
I hope that's not the case. Then that's garbage. I will not. Then it's useless to me, because I'm not going to go like open up my bank tab and go try to find complete sets.
I am. That's why the martinis.
Okay. Well, I'm going to need a lot of martinis.
They might have to be espresso martinis, though, because I also need caffeine.
I know. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. So let's finish it off by talking about Children of Null Operation Guide. We poked our heads in there, and now I've read SWTORista's breakdown, and I've watched a couple videos of people actually doing the fight. Seems interesting. It's a couple interesting mechanics. You know, that word mechanics, it makes sense, but it made me think earlier when we used it that I want to design like either a game or a fight in a game that has a bunch of actual dudes with like wrenches and, you know, and jacks and stuff that are like their mechanics, just like running around as part of it. So you could say, I really like these mechanics. And for it to be like Sal, the mechanic that you really like. I think that just amused myself. Sorry. Anyway, the mechanics of this fight, there's one so you're fighting this Null acolyte. And when he casts this ability, I wonder if they're going to change the name to make it something more interesting. But right now, the ability is called Venn diagram. And what happens is, and we saw this happen, we just didn't know what to do with it. But one person gets a blue circle, one person gets a red circle around them. It's like a little 10-meter radius circle. And what you need to do is you need to make a Venn diagram with those two circles. And then one player and only one player needs to stand in the intersection of the Venn diagram to complete the mechanic. Okay. I mean, the name of the ability is a little on the nose as it stands right now. But I get that, you know, kind of like make the little Venn diagram and somebody stands in it. Then there's this whole light side of the room, dark side of the room, and that's, you know, so one half of the room is red, one half of the room is blue. And in story mode, the boss starts on one side and jumps to the other side throughout the fight and goes back and forth. And each time it jumps to one of the new sides, it gets another stack of either the light stack or the dark stack, which is a stacking ability mechanic on the boss. So once it gets up to about 5 stacks, it's like it's going to wipe your group. So it's a little bit of an enrage mechanic. In the vet mode version of that, you need to be, the tanks need to be dragging the boss back and forth between the dark side and the light side and not let it be like if he's stacking up on one side too much. So it gives it a little bit more of the mechanics of what the boss is doing there. There's ads that show up at the fight. So we saw these manifested dark echo dudes. You need to kill them before they cast their ability. Because if you don't, then bad things happen to you. And on vet mode, the bad things that happen can include them healing the boss. So there's that. And then there's the freeze tag ability, which we saw a little bit of, which was at various times a couple people will get frozen, and then you need to go and tag them and unfreeze them. And when you tag them and unfreeze them, I didn't realize that this was part of it. You basically take that freeze charge from them, and then there'll be a countdown when you're going to drop a circle on the ground, which is a less potent version. So you need to cleanse that off of them anyway, but you need to like go drop it in a corner of the room, basically. Couple other final bits that looked interesting, which was, you know how in Temple of Sacrifice, the first fight with the Masasi, how you need to be like in its circle as stacks build up and then step out of it? Well, that's actually happening in this fight too with the dark side and light side. Is when you're standing on the dark side, you're getting stacks, and once in a while you need to like go run to the light side to drop it off. And the same way, there's a different buff debuff on the light side that you want to potentially be stacking up and then maybe go drop it off on the dark side. Mm-hmm. So bunch of relatively reasonable mechanics, it seems like to me. I mean, what did you think about it so far?
I don't mind any amount of mechanics. Like people talk about, you know, a vomit of mechanics. I don't mind that. What I don't like is when on top of the mechanics, the DPS check is punishing. So you can execute, you don't even get to execute the mechanics because you can't kill the boss anyway.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's going to be all about the tuning, which I don't know that they can do that.
Like a fight like Lady Dominique, where the chained knockback mechanic is just so finicky in terms of positioning and its ability to wipe the fight. If that happens once or twice in a fight, then maybe that's okay. But again, because there's also a DPS check, you can end up having to our group needs to do that like 10 times. And you're gonna get in trouble eventually. Like we can clear it, 2 or 3 times, but
I don't mind that the mechanic is there. What I don't like is how hard it is to get that far in the fight.
Yeah. And then if you mess it up, you're wiped. and it's such a
Right.
hard mechanic, you're gonna mess it up one of the times, and we don't
A-
have enough. It's such a DPS
And
check to not do it
then
10
I'm
times.
fine even with all of that if it were hard mode, but it's story mode,
Right. Right.
which is supposed to be accessible to everyone.
Yeah. So far, what I've seen with this one is it seems reasonable in story mode, and should be okay.
Yeah,
Lady
I
Dominique is
hope
just
so.
not reasonable in story mode, and never has been, and still is not. For like, I don't think anybody pugs Lady Dominique in story mode. Only people who know what they're doing get through that fight. Yeah, story mode is a story mode. They should have nerfed Lady Dominique at by this point in the life cycle of that operation.
I don't think they have the ability to, or I don't know, because yeah, I think they would have if they could have.
Like make chain knockback only happen once, or yeah, they definitely could have. They could have had none of the.
No, I mean I don't think they have a person
Oh,
who can do it.
yeah, like in
But
story mode,
they
just like
must
have like
they m-
the
they must have now because they have someone who's designing this operation. That person has the skills to go
yeah.
back and do something about R4, but I don't know how important that is to them. It's important to me.
Have the Reapers not spawn. The Reapers and the hulking dudes in the in that final third of the fight. If have those not spawn, and then we could like struggle through the chain knockback and not have a Reaper that like roots you.
Well, then we could even have an opportunity to learn the chain knockback, which we're getting close to. It's not that we have
We've-
to be able to do the fight without doing it. It was just that it's so taxing to get that far. And
Yeah.
with daily lockouts,
Yeah.
like you can't come back the next day and try the boss again without clearing the whole place again.
Yeah, which is annoying because it's an hour to clear up to that point.
Yeah. So if you raid 2 hours a week like we do, if you get a late start, whatever, then you're doing this punishing boss in the last 15 minutes of your raid night. It's just
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Right.
Again, if it were hard mode, fine.
Right. I would want that for hard mode. Exactly. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. This is only our glimpse of the first boss out of 3 in this operation. And we'll see where else it goes from here. As we said, they like to drip feed and hold stuff back. So I'm sure there's going to be more coming. So anything else, Sema, out of SWTOR? You
No,
you got your 7
no.
objectives done for the week yet?
No. I think we can do 7 this week though without doing PvP or GSF. I think we can, but I'm gonna aim for 5. I just always aim for 5.
I messed up this morning. I was gonna log in and do a couple more dynamic encounters before like in a little coffee and contemplation time before I started work. And I corrupted my install.
Oh, right. Oh my god.
Because I like left the launcher timed out, and then I killed the launcher on Steam, and it corrupted it. I had to do a repair on the files, and by the time that was all done, I didn't have time to get back in there. But I usually wait until we're done with our Thursday before I clean up objectives anyway, because we usually do some stuff on Thursdays for the season, which is nice. Anything group stuff, we kind of throw that in on Thursdays.
Yeah,
Cool.
what I like to do for DEs, if it's an option, is Coruscant, which is not going to help this week, but
Right, because you have to do them on Hoth.
I like Coruscant because they're all sort of close to each other. Because Coruscant is just smaller than Hoth.
Yeah.
So not as much travel.
And it's not as cold. I don't like the cold.
It's not as cold.
All right.
I never forget my coffee when I'm on Hoth.
That's right. I think that is it for the week. We always know what the temperature inside of a tauntaun is, though, don't we, Sema?
It's warm luck?
No. Lukewarm. It's lukewarm.
Oh yeah.
Because Luke, and because he went inside, because he had to go inside the Tauntaun. It was because Luke in the New Hope in the movie. Because that's why.
Oh.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for putting up with us. And for us, all the feed and subscribe links on newoverlords.com, and our videos up on YouTube/newoverlords, or will be soon. Please come chat with us in our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord. Post comments on our YouTube video. That would be fun. And also, you can find us on the social networks, even though they drive me crazy every time I post there. But we're on there on X and Blue Sky and Threads. We're on those. So you can find us there too. But our Discord is the best place. So we'll catch you there. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.